Yep.
All right, cool.
Ready.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the MulletCast, the podcast where business and pleasure collide. I am Evan Balmer. Mike Mercia is currently playing with a sound effect machine.
What's going on, everyone?
What's happening? Today we are joined by Ciara Perrone. What's up,
Hi.
Ciara?
Hi, how are you guys?
Good,
Thanks
how
for
are you?
having me. I'm good.
Awesome. Ciara is a professional photographer as well as the founder of Brinn Bags. Check out Ciara online at ciaraperrone.com, brinnbags.com, on Instagram at Brinn, BRINN _bags, and CC. How do you pronounce this?
CC for Prezi.
Prezi, that's what I call it. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
All right, so it's CC, the number 4, PREZI.
Yep.
That's where you can find Ciara online. What's going on?
Not much. How are you guys doing today?
Good, thanks.
Yeah?
So by trade, you were a graduate of Parsons School of Design where you studied photography.
Yes,
And you were a professional photographer.
I am. Yep. So, long story short, after I graduated, I moved back home and ended up hostessing at a restaurant while I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. A lot of my friends kind of went in the route of photo assisting, but I just didn't really want to do that because I know sometimes it's hard to get out of photo assisting once you're in it.
Right.
So I just kind of had a vision of really just working for myself. And until I figured that out, I was just going to work at a restaurant and do the side hustle.
That's cool.
What kind of photography was it?
At that time, I was doing definitely a lot more like fine art photography. But recently, well, not recently, a little shortly after that, I got more into fashion photography, editorial, working with brands is what I really love to do. I'm definitely a storyteller, and that's where my fine art came in a lot. But now I just apply that to brands and like what they're trying to say with their product.
Right.
Nice.
So when you're getting started in that, how do you kind of break into that field?
So I think living in Asbury Park made it easier for me than living in New York. Like there's I don't know, Asbury, it's obviously much smaller than Manhattan, so there's less competition, and people just want to employ locals. Like, that's the thing. Everyone wants to, like, work with people in the community,
Right.
which is really great. So I feel like it gave me the leverage I needed because I had this, like, creative work. I don't know if, it's not like it was that long ago. I don't know if at the time there weren't a ton of photographers, but it just kind of, like, put me in the eyes of the right people, basically. Right. And, yeah, they would come to me, kind of tell me what they wanted. I always do a mood board, like that's my creative process to get people on the same page so that when we're going into the shoot, we both have an idea of what the end product is going to be like.
What is a mood board? 'Cause I have no
So
clue.
it's basically a creative deck. Like
Okay.
I get a feel for what they want. I mix it with my personal vision, and it's like it's inspiration basically.
Okay.
It's an inspiration board. So I'll pull imagery. Sometimes it's music. It's not always imagery. Like it'll just be something to get like create the aesthetic and essentially create the mood of the shoot.
Okay.
Gotcha. So it's like everyone's on the same kind of, this is the vibe
Yes.
we're looking for.
Yes,
kind
so
of
like
page.
you go into it knowing you don't know what the end product's going to be, but you go into it knowing what the aesthetic of the shoot is going to be.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And then are there any particular businesses you connected with first? Are you talking about businesses were some of your first clients, or was it
Yeah.
individuals?
Well, I was working in the city a lot at the time too, so Valentino was one of my clients. I don't know if you guys know Valentino. It's like a luxury fashion brand. But weirdly, I know you're laughing, but weirdly a lot of people are like, what's Valentino? But yeah, so I was shooting for them a lot, and I was basically doing their lookbooks. So they were like a big client for me to start with. Like
Right.
I was not expecting that coming out of college. But down here was a lot of smaller ones, like Serena and the Seas, like a bathing suit company. So that's like really where my heart is at, working more with clothing, accessories. I also really, really love working with musicians, and that was a huge thing because I feel like the musicians of Asbury Park were like the first ones to give me like a chance. Like
Right.
they like loved my work and just wanted to work with me, and I still work with them today.
That's cool.
They're just like the most fun because I get to have the most freedom, I guess. Like they really just like believe in me, and they're like, do what you want. Like we know we're gonna love it.
Right.
It's just cool. I guess it's just working with like a creative, and they're just kind of down for whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
awesome. Yeah.
And were you doing like kind of album artwork, like website stuff? What kind of photos for band promo shots?
Album artwork as well as promo shots, like
Yeah.
mostly for like web and Instagram to get the word out about shows and upcoming albums.
Nice.
That is cool. So at some point, you also decide that you want to start a company.
Yeah.
You already started a company as a
Yeah.
photographer. You were a company, but then
Yes.
how did your interest kind of expand?
I was literally sitting on the train going into one of my Valentino shoots, and my uncle, who is the best, sent me like this. He's a photographer. He sent me a messenger bag, and he was like, here, try this out. I had an extra bag. It was like half the size of me. Like, it was huge. And it was just really, like, not nice looking either.
Yeah.
And when you're shooting for someone like Valentino, you want to go in, like, feeling good, looking good.
Right.
And it was, like, literally me sitting on the train. It was in my way. It was taking up too much of the seat. And I was like, there's got to be, like, another way. Like, there has got to be something that, like, fits my personal aesthetic and also is just more comfortable.
Right.
For me, personally, I love backpacks. I don't think there's anything comfortable about a messenger bag. By
Right.
the end of the day, your shoulder is, like, killing you.
Yep.
So the first thing for me was, like, it's got to be a backpack. That's just what I would personally want. And there were a few companies out there doing it, but it just wasn't my style. Like, it was very, like, kind of just one of the same, like, just kind of like, if you're in the woods shooting, like, that was the style of it. And I'm
Right.
like, I'm in the city. I wanted something, like, sleek and nice. And so literally that night I went home and started sketching. And I'm not very good at sketching, but I did a sketch on a Post-it note that I still have. And that was kind of the start of it. And it just took off from there.
That's cool.
How long did it take you to get the final design?
Very long time.
Very long.
Yeah, this was the first bag I made, but the prototype looked nothing like this. Like, it
Okay.
kind of looked like a school project. It was, like, super soft. It had no structure to it. But that was, I had gotten that one made in the city using a sample maker in Manhattan, just because, like, I didn't know anything about design.
Right.
Very luckily, I have a sister who does design for a living, so I had someone to, like, guide me in the right direction. But I just wanted to be as a part of the process as possible so I could learn along the way. So the first sample was, well, the first prototype was made in Manhattan.
Okay.
And it took one round of crowdfunding to get the professional samples made, and then from there we did another round of crowdfunding to get the production.
And you had a pretty successful funding too, right?
Yeah, so
Both rounds.
yeah, the first round was small. I asked for $12,000, and that was to cover the samples.
Okay.
Because I was still going to get those made in Manhattan, and samples are really expensive to get made in Manhattan. So, but we exceeded that. We made $13,000 in 17 days for that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the second round, I asked for 22, and it was a real nail biter. It was the last day, and I was like a few thousand away. And then someone made a very generous donation that got me to get my goal. So
Awesome.
was
That
pretty
is cool.
too.
So obviously we've been talking about Brinn bags, right? So how did you come up with the name Brinn? Was it there since the beginning?
No, it's my middle name,
Oh, okay.
and that was probably
That
my
was
biggest
easy.
struggle.
I never knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my biggest struggle, actually, was to name the brand. I'm trying to think of the other names I had. One was like, I don't even remember. I think, like, it was a number, like something 17.
Okay.
CC4.
Yeah, but yeah, just nothing really felt right. And then my friend was like, "What about Brinn?" Because it was always like a joke in college. Like, Brinn was like just what my friends would call me. Like,
Right.
I don't know. So it would just turn into that somehow. So it just kind of felt right. Like, the whole thing was like I wanted something that was an extension of me. So
Right.
when someone had brought that to my attention, I was like, it's kind of the perfect thing.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's a
Yeah.
good name. It's catchy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you made the first the prototype and everything. Did you like live with that one for a while? Like, so obviously you're a
Yeah.
photographer, so you could test it like under the circumstances you wanted, right?
I had it for about like a year and a half
Uh-huh.
before I got like the new samples made. So
Right.
it was in that one, like I said, didn't have much structure, and I still never had an issue with it for a year and a half. So that was like a really good testing point.
Right.
And then I had these for about a year before we went into production.
Nice.
Gotcha.
You were saying before we started, I'm just gonna grab it.
Yeah.
People could see this on Facebook. Everything you have added to this final product has been out of experience, right?
Out of experience, yep. So you have your Metro card holder here. You can also just do like a debit card or your business card.
Right.
This is a pocket for spare change because I'm a person that's always fumbling to get my wallet out when I'm in the city, and it's just easier for me to just grab it, put it in, keep going.
Right.
This is one of my favorites. It's an easy access side pocket. So, and it's also totally theft proof. Like, you're going to feel if someone's trying to get in there. So since the bag opens from the back, if you need something while you're on the go, just make sure you put it in this pocket. So that
that's
way
cool.
it's just easy to grab right out of there.
Awesome.
Nice. And then on the inside you have kind of dividers, right? For I mean, for a
Yes.
photographer, obviously it'd be for things like lenses, camera bodies.
Yeah, totally.
film.
So these bags were originally designed as photography and travel bags, but they've taken on a whole nother life. Been able to reach a lot of different creative entrepreneurs that find uses for it, which is awesome. So
Right.
people in the hair industry, makeup industry, travelers, tattoo artists have all been really interested
That's cool.
in them.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram story recently. You did a photo shoot with a stylist using it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was
Yes.
cool.
So the stand side.
So
It's comfy as heck. It
that
really
is awesome. And then you can kind of move around the compartments,
So
right?
these are all removable and adjustable. The only one that doesn't come out is this because it supports the top pocket.
Right.
But otherwise, you can really adjust this to how you need it to be.
That's cool.
Then you have a pocket for a 15-inch laptop. You can fit like a tablet here. We have like a travel pouch, so
Right.
I keep the pouch in there usually. I shoot a lot of film, so for me, when I go to the airport, it's just an easy thing to grab out and have them hand check for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned also it's vegan. Why was that important to you?
I don't wear animal products.
Okay.
And I don't eat meat, so it's just like a personal choice to me that's important. And
Right.
it was something I couldn't find on the market. Like everything was made of leather, and I didn't really see why there wasn't an alternative, especially in the time we live in. It's so easy to make an alternative.
Right.
I think people have this weird view sometimes of vegan leather. They think it's like not strong, it's not going to hold up, but these bags have been tested for a long time now.
Right.
And it's really strong. Like that was my most important thing, was like sourcing a material that was really durable, water resistant.
And what-
light, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
light.
4 pounds you said.
And obviously still looks good. You know, you
Yes.
don't sacrifice anything and
Yeah.
look. So where did you source the material?
So the material is a vegan leather sourced from Italy.
Wow.
Yeah, and the first people I worked with in Manhattan helped me source that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And your first campaigns were with Kickstarter, right?
The first one was with Indiegogo,
Okay.
and the second one was Kickstarter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how those processes worked and how difficult is it to go from like, all right, I have just launched this on Indiegogo, I have 0 followers,
Yeah.
and then how do you promote it?
The first round was really friends and family.
Okay.
I don't think I had one outsider that I didn't know donate to me. So I'm just very lucky that I had such a supportive community.
Right.
We had, I think the biggest thing for both campaigns was that I threw a launch party for each one. And that's where I made the most, that's where most of the funds were raised from the night of.
Oh,
like
cool.
people were just really excited to get in there and like get their hands on the bags and stuff and really see them in person. And so that was definitely the most successful thing. So if anyone does crowdfunding, I would highly recommend having like a launch party for it.
That's a good
You
idea.
did it at a brewery, right?
The first one I did at Little Buddy, and
Okay.
the second one I did at the Asbury Park Brewery.
That's cool.
So I would definitely suggest that. It just gets people really excited for you, and it's cool. Like the last one, my boyfriend's band played in it. He's in Deal Casino, so they're like an Asbury Park band. So
Right.
a lot of people came out for that. So it was just people get excited to come out for stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, as far as
It's
everything
funny,
else,
that-
it's hard.
That's actually a good tip because it's like you're doing an online promotion, but
Yes.
you're doing a physical event to help promote it. So
Yeah.
that is
And
cool.
especially like I don't have a store, so people weren't
Right.
seeing the products in person. They were only seeing them on Instagram. So I
Right.
think it makes such a difference when you see it in person than just online.
That local aspect is huge too. Because
Totally.
Yep.
all the local companies, the bands, that culture in Asbury Park is just going to come out and support it.
Yeah, and everyone was always so happy to like help me, like the spaces I used, the people that were involved. So,
Right.
awesome.
really cool.
And then you have an added bonus, which when you're bootstrapping a company, like you pretty much have to do everything, but you
Yeah.
have a very important skill for launching a product is your stuff, your like you do your own lookbooks, everything's going to look really cool coming out of the gate.
Yeah, which is nice because it's kind of like my personal project in a sense.
Right.
It's, I work a lot, so, and I have fun with my jobs, but this is like I get to do kind of whatever I want and what I think is right for the brand, which is definitely a huge saving point because I know photography is probably one of the most important things you can do for your company, and I get to just do it for myself, which is nice.
That is cool. So then when you moved over to Kickstarter for the second campaign, how was that different from the first one?
I just had a little bit more of a following. Like there were some UK orders that came in, California. Like it was actually people that I didn't know that were backing the campaign, which was really cool.
That's cool.
And the incentive for that was that you would get your bag in September. So we are technically launching this month.
Right.
So everyone got their bags early, which was, I think, a really cool thing. So people are out there wearing them ahead of time before anyone else can have them.
That's very cool.
But yeah, I think the main thing was really just that I had given myself to evolve a little and have more time for more eyes to get on my brand.
right.
It was definitely hard though, like especially not having PR or marketing to work with,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of just, it's you. So it's like as much as you can push it and get it out to people
Right.
is what it is.
What do you
we
think
did
your
it, so.
biggest outlet's been? Is it Instagram?
Yeah. Instagram. I've tried Facebook ads and everything, but I just don't think my target audience is on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many bags did you move as part of the Kickstarter program?
30.
Okay.
30 bags
Nice.
and 30 travel pouches.
Cool. And so where were they all made? Were they still made in Manhattan or somewhere else?
No, so they were produced overseas in China.
Okay.
It's a really small factory. My sister, who I was saying she designs wedding dresses, so she goes out there twice a year. So she's kind of like my liaison right now, where
Right.
her factory is down the street from my factory. It's
Oh, no
really
way.
weird. So she just goes and like, sees them for me
Right.
and makes sure everything's going good. She'll like pick up stuff for me while she's there. My most important thing is that people are being treated correctly and it's a good work environment. So it's nice that I have her to be able to do that.
Right.
I love them. I think they do such a great job. Their attention to detail is like so good. And I personally talk to the owner every single day who like works on my projects.
Really?
So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're really WeChat. It's a great app. They'll be texting me at like 3 a.m. I'm like, hey guys.
Yeah. I'm in the States, man. Don't forget.
yeah.
It's yesterday.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So how do you go from your design to like what do you have to deliver to a factory? Do you create now you have like a manufacturing like template? How does that work?
Yeah, now that we got the first line down, they have all the patterns for these, so they're good to go. And then as far like we just started working on new product development, so that's always like the tricky part because they're really just working off a sketch. So the first time's always like there's improvements to be made,
Right.
but that's the whole point of getting samples made and seeing how it goes from there. But yeah, I had sent them the ones that I had made in Manhattan, so they had something to work off of. But they really did like such a great job improving on it. And yeah, so mostly it's sketches, and you just have to hope for the best that
Right.
things come out in the
Yeah.
right measurements and
So
stuff.
do you see a couple like products first before they start manufacturing them? Like you get
Yes.
a test run.
Yeah, they sent me the first round, and then they sent me another round in the final packaging because we
That's
have
cool.
like dust bags and boxes for each bag.
Okay.
So they send you like that to give the final approval of how they're going to ship out.
Gotcha.
So you have 3 here.
Yes.
Are these the 3 options right now?
So there's 5 options. I just didn't bring all 5, but
Okay.
so this is the Rebel, which was the very first design. I just think there's a bag for everybody. This one's really fun. I don't know. Here, actually, I have my phone on me because this one's made of like a reflective material. So when
Yeah, that's cool.
the light hits it, it
Oh,
just like
yeah, that's
turns
good.
white. So the whole point of it to me was people who ride their bikes. Like I
Right.
have a lot of friends who are photographers in the city that just like ride around at night or like shoot in the subways like late at night. Also, it's just cool. So there's that too.
That
And
is
then
cool.
This is like my favorite one, which is the honey pie. One of my favorite TV shows is Twin Peaks, so it was like loosely based off of the room in Twin Peaks. I just think it's a really classic, great design. Men have really been into this one, which is really awesome as well. But yeah, I think this is definitely the most classic, is always going to be here design. And then we have the Revolver too, which is the plain backpack. And then we have this CC bag, which is a front fringe, so it's like 3 layers of fringe in the
Okay.
front of it.
That's cool.
Now the inside, they're all the same?
They're all the same in the inside. The Revolver, which is the plain one, just has a black interior,
Okay.
and everything else is gray.
Nice. I like the names.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're good. I wasn't sure what honey pie was from. Now I know.
Yeah, they're mostly all from songs, song titles, lyrics, everything.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So it's interesting. Like I was reading your bio, and you said you made a decision, like you said redesign your life,
Yes.
right? So you're like, all right, I have a job that provides like regular income, but I need to like kind of take the leap to do that.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you?
It was pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was bartending for 3 years at the same restaurant. I really loved the people I worked for. They were awesome. And they gave me like more opportunities. Like they had hired me as a photographer as well.
That's
So they were
cool.
really great people, and they were always supportive of what I did. But my heart just wasn't in the hospitality business.
Right.
And I think that's what made doing the job harder, because I was always just like working every single weekend there, all weekend, doing photography on the weekdays, and also trying to make Brinn happen. So it was just a lot, and I would get frustrated because I was like, this isn't what I want to do, but I like need to do it right
Right.
now. And especially like not having an investor or anything, I'm like, this is, I have to be the one to start this.
Right.
So it was tough because I had a lot of people just being like, I don't think you should quit your job yet. Like, you're not ready. But at the same time, I was like, if I don't quit, something's going to suffer. That's either like my photography business or Brinn.
Right.
So I just had to make the decision.
Yeah. So what kind of what do you use like in your life to help you make those decisions? Like, you read anything? You listen to anything?
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
I think at the time I wasn't listening to a lot of podcasts, though. It was just kind of like a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was. I remember it was Memorial Day, and it was a really, really rough day at work. Like we were just out of everything. Like, all the food was gone. There was no glasses. Like, it was just crazy. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore.
Right.
I was like, I got to redirect my energy. And that's the thing. I was spending way too much negative energy getting, like, mad at bartending.
Yeah.
And
Right.
when you think about it, like, why would you get mad at bartending? Like,
Yeah.
it's such a small thing, but that's what it was doing to me.
Right.
So I was like, I think for myself and for my businesses, like, I just need to make the decision and go. And I knew it wasn't going to be easy because that was where the majority of my money was coming from. But
Right.
I also wasn't giving myself the chance to, like, succeed how I could.
Right.
So I think I just needed to quit and make it happen.
What were you listening to motivate you? Like
MulletCast.
MulletCast, yeah.
Almost exclusively.
I was listening in the future to the MulletCast. I listened to the Girl Boss podcast a lot at the
Okay.
time. That was probably like the first podcast I was really listening to. Now I listen to like a ton more. But yeah, and you know, every episode is about a female entrepreneur. Kind of goes through like what their very first job was, what their definition of success is, and it was my motivation, and it still is sometimes because things get hard, and you know, they'll tell you like when they were broke and drinking 50-cent coffee because that's all they could afford,
Yeah.
but they
Right.
just knew that they needed to do that to like make their business work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's what it was, and my boyfriend's always been a huge support too, and he was always like, just do it, you'll be fine. And then I had my family who I love, but they were like, don't do it, that's irresponsible. So yeah, I think my boyfriend kind of is in the same realm trying to make his band happen, so I
Sure.
think we kind of just
Yeah.
understood each other.
Right.
And you just kind of have to go for it sometimes. Jen Chavez too would
Yep.
always be in my ear being like, quit.
It's a nice segue. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
everything you're saying kind of correlates with Babes in Business, the whole
Yeah.
point of the group.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all? You're one of the
absolutely.
originals, right?
Yes, so I helped Jen start it. It was always definitely Jen's vision. I think we had started like talking about meeting at Brick Wall like once a month and just having this small group of girls talk about like what our goals are, how we can get there, just a support system. And then it turned into the first meetup was probably, I think it was like 80 people inside of AP Moto Club.
No way.
So it was
That's cool.
crammed. And we really thought it was going to be like a small group of girls. Just
Right.
like, let's talk about like what your vision is, how long you think it's going to take you to get there. So it really blew up really, really fast. And now was just the 2-year anniversary in October. So it's pretty crazy. People love it. It's amazing.
And you sell out, right? Like every time?
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
I mean, I think it gets, a few of them have sold out, and it's at Porta, so it's a much bigger venue now. And it's just great. Like, I always love seeing, it's just everyone. It's people who own their businesses to girls who really don't know what they want to do yet, but just want some inspiration. And I
Who
think
may
that's
be-
really strong.
Yeah, who may be where you were.
Yeah.
Working 3 jobs. and
Exactly.
they have a passion for something, but they need someone to motivate them in
Yeah.
the direction.
Right.
Absolutely. So I think it's just great. It's a different kind of networking, which is nice. Sometimes networking could be like a very scary word. I don't know. It's just like, even sometimes I'll look at an event in the city, and if I have no one to go with, I'm like, I don't want to go to that alone. Like, it seems like weird.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think this is like the least intimidating kind of networking for women. You just come. You can come by yourself. Someone will come up to you and talk to you.
Right.
And it's just friendly.
Yeah.
That is cool.
It's a good crew.
Yeah.
Everyone I've met there is they're legit. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's passionate. They're not going out to if they aren't passionate. But everyone's got, serious goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've made really great friends from it. I love Kelly. Like,
Yeah.
I've met people and worked with people that I wouldn't have met if it wasn't for Babes in Business. Yeah.
That's very cool. I'm totally blanking on what I was just going to ask you about. I had the question in mind, but then you were talking more about the Babes in Business. I know what I was going to ask you. So, you made a leap from kind of part-timing photography into full-time.
Yes.
Was it just as difficult now that you're like more established as a photographer? Now I'm going to start this company as well. Like,
Yeah.
what was that leap like?
Well, I think it's getting harder now. When I first left my bartending job, I honestly got more photography jobs than I ever had before, just in that summer. And I did really great, but also Brinn wasn't as demanding as it is now.
Right.
So now it's like it's tough to find the balance, but I do it. I mean, I'm a very scheduled person, so my planner is figured out by Sunday for the whole week.
Right.
And I'm a very I like to check things off. So I'm just better. I'm just getting better at managing my time. So
Right.
like yesterday was a full Brinn day, all day, and that's all I did. So it's like I really just have to focus and make sure I don't go into the day not knowing what's going to come next. And I mean, things happen all the time, but it'll be small. Like it'll be like my factory needs to talk to me or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
a
just go with the
huge.
flow.
That's like a huge tip. Like that is my biggest weakness for sure. Like I am
Yeah.
the worst at planning.
Yeah.
But if you do, like you
Yeah.
realize, like sometimes you run around with your head cut off. Like, oh my god, I got so much to do.
Right.
But all you're doing is just wasting time thinking about all you have to do. Like if you just
Absolutely.
sit down and plan out
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you have to do.
Yeah.
And so launching this company, obviously. You got a lot to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do the products come to you? Are you packing these up? It looked like you had a ton
Yeah.
at home.
So
right?
that was only 34 boxes. Now
Right.
in a few weeks, I have 117 boxes
Wow.
coming to me, and yeah, it's going to be crazy. What I'm doing right now is I'm literally opening every single box and
Right.
going through every single bag. One day, yes, I will have quality control, but it's the first line. This is the first time I'm working with this factory.
Right.
So, like, I feel like it's my due diligence to really go through them and make sure people are getting a product that I stand by.
Right. Do they arrive packaged?
They do, even though I've asked them not to, because
Okay.
I have to go through it. I'm like, just stick it in the box, it's okay.
Right.
But yeah, I get it. They want it to look nice. They have it, like, wrapped in tissue paper and everything.
Right. Did
Yeah.
you design the packaging?
I did.
It's
Yes.
beautiful. I love
Thank
your logo is killer.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
awesome. Yeah.
Yes, that was Brian Renson, who works for Captain Creates.
Yeah, nice. And I love Stay Chic, You Freak. Right?
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole I've always called
That resonated with
chic.
me.
Yeah. So I do love that. It's fun. I mean, it's like I don't want it to ever come off like it takes itself too seriously. Like there's fringe on the bag, and
Right.
it's really supposed to be for the more bold person that is like wants to wear these things and
Right.
wants to be seen, and it's fashion.
That is cool.
Are you going to be at any storefronts in the area?
Not yet, but definitely, hopefully soon.
Okay.
I've been reaching out to a bunch in Manhattan right now, and I'm going to start covering New Jersey this week. That's actually on my to-do list. So we'll definitely be looking into just being kind of like luxury stores, like luggage luxury stores and camera stores.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And have you done any outreach to like press at all? Like,
Yeah.
could you get coverage like in photography, like Pro Gear mags?
Sure,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff?
I actually got into Click magazine, which is a photography magazine, and they had found me, which was kind of cool.
That is cool.
So they featured me on their like 12 most versatile camera bags,
Oh,
which
nice.
was really
That's
awesome. And it was in print and on web.
Nice.
And then I am working with PR right now for a 4-month term. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some
Nice.
good stuff out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wanted to purchase them, go to the Instagram is probably the easiest.
Yeah, the Instagram, the website, brinnbags.com. It's up and running. We're relaunching our website in line with the product launch.
Okay.
So that will be November 17th.
Nice.
That's cool. So product launch, you're done. Everyone from Kickstarter has,
Yeah.
and now you're going to be stocking them yourself, basically.
Yes. And so it's a little weird because I feel like everyone's like, what are you launching? Because everyone's seen the bags for
Right.
so long. But it's basically just pre-orders are over. Inventory's in. We're like fully up and running.
So now you can come out and purchase it, basically.
Yes.
That's
Like you
cool.
don't have to wait anymore. You just get it. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So what's your kind of goal for the company?
I really just want to grow it to be a lifestyle brand.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be more than creatives using it. Like we're working on some products that I think are really going to make everyone happy. Like I want it to live in the fashion world. I want it to be like a concept piece. I just want it to really speak to consumers of all different kinds.
Right.
Yeah. So this is just where we're starting for now, and there'll be a lot to come.
Nice.
That's cool. So definitely different like sizes and configurations, not just backpacks.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
right. That's
Definitely
cool.
more products. Yeah.
Right. Nice. So you also mentioned in your bio a little bit that now you might feel a little bit of a tug, like the same way you did before, like my job in photography. Now you got
Yeah.
this like photography Brinn kind of
Yeah.
tugging. What's that feel like right now?
I mean, it's definitely tough. It's just a matter of finding the balance. A lot of people are just like, so I don't know. I think a lot of people think I did this to get out of photography, which
Right.
is so funny to me because I'm like, no, I did it because of photography.
Right.
Like they wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for
Right.
photography.
I was trying to improve my photographic experience.
Yeah. So that's definitely not the case, and photography is something I will always do. I mean, as the company grows, I'm sure I will have to absolutely like cut back.
Right.
But it's just always something I'm going to do forever. I think sometimes people are like, "How long can we book you for?" And I'm like, "You can reach out to me whenever, as long as like we can make it happen with the schedule. Like I will absolutely do your photo shoots. You know, like it's what I love, and they go hand in hand. One wouldn't be without the other."
Yeah.
That's cool. What about, I mean, what's like the biggest, I guess, unexpected thing about starting and running a company?
How much you have to. It's not that how much you have to do. It's just like so I'm a very like left brain person. I'm super creative. Financial stuff, I don't want to look at numbers,
Right.
but I have to. So I think like just how many different directions you have to go and how many different hats. I don't think people realize sometimes like just how crazy it is to start your own company from scratch.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I realized, like, I was like, well, I already have this photography company, like, I can do this, but
Right.
a photography company is entirely different from having, like, a company where you're selling products. It's just a totally different thing. I didn't really have overhead for photography, and, like, you just start right away. Like, there is no, like, growing stage. Like,
Right.
you get photo jobs, and you're just, like, in it. So I think I was a little shocked at even, like, how many hats I have to wear and everything.
Right.
Definitely learned a lot. I know what P&L means now, and learned a lot of things about finances, which is good because
Right.
I'm like, on the other hand, I cannot wait till I could hire someone to do those things. But
Exactly.
I'm happy that I know the language and I'll know what they're talking to me about when
Right.
they're talking to me
So
about
you
it.
taught yourself most of the accounting stuff?
Yeah,
Nice.
which is hard, and I mean, I definitely don't know everything at all. Like my accountant helps me, my boyfriend helps me. He like did a lot of that in college, so I definitely have help, and I have a lot of questions all the time. So it's just a constant learning experience.
Right. And what resources you draw on to like to learn that kind of stuff?
My accountant,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, just really anyone who has any kind of experience, like just people. Like I don't really like. I'll look things up on the internet, but that doesn't always make sense to me,
Right.
like just reading it. So I learn a lot more if someone's like physically talking to me and I'm taking in the words more like that.
Right.
So
I thought you were going to say YouTube.
Yeah.
definitely not afraid to call someone and be like, I need help. Tell me what this means.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. And the beautiful thing, like you said, you can eventually kind of punt those jobs you don't like off to other people as
Yeah.
you grow.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to know, like, you know your business better than anyone and probably better than you'll ever know it right now.
Right.
You know? So it's good to learn that early.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, do you envision yourself like longer term as more like creative director role almost? And then you
Definitely.
can plug in some of the operational people?
Absolutely, yeah. I just want it. I want it to be really successful, and I'm not afraid to say that, like, maybe I'm not the best person to run certain aspects of it.
Right.
Obviously, now it's all me, and like I said, it's great because it's learning, and I want to know everything I can. But yeah, I want to see the company succeed, so I want those people that are smarter than me in certain aspects
Yeah.
that can do the job better than I can.
Just allocate those jobs elsewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I mean, I'm good at creative, so like, put me towards that, and I'll succeed a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
I think that's important to know those, you know your skill set, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, it's your. This is time for your question. I don't want to step on your line.
So, we got this is my go-to line. So we got the business side, right?
Yeah.
So what's your mullet? What kind of stuff do you do on the weekend?
Okay.
I know you're busy with work a lot of the time,
Yeah.
but what do you like to do for fun?
Well, it's funny because it's like when you do what you love for your job, I'm like, what are my hobbies?
Another
Like, I
one.
don't know.
We have a lot of people that live the mullet life.
Yeah,
You know?
like I don't know. It's just I'm kind of involved in it. Like when I'm not shooting for work, I'm trying to plan a shoot for me that I think is fun, and that's what makes me feel the most energized. I like to go to museums. I like to watch movies. Movies are like a huge part of where my inspiration comes from. I don't really go out too much. Every once in a while, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound boring, but I'm so immersed in the work right now. Like, there's just so much to do.
Yeah.
That's kind of become my life. And I know you're supposed to, like, have the separation. But, yeah, I just try to, like, read and, like, look at new inspiration and everything. Try not to spend too much time on Instagram because I feel like I live on it for work. So when I don't have to be on it, I really just don't look much.
Yeah, I
and
agree
just
with
try
that.
just try to make time for, like, friends and family as much as I can.
Awesome. And I saw that you guys do, like you and your boyfriend do photo shoots a lot.
Yeah.
All over. Go to the woods. I think I see a lot on
Yeah,
Instagram.
we go to like a lot of parks just when we have nothing going on for the day.
Nice.
And yeah, he likes to shoot, so he like second shoots with me here and there on some projects.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What kind of movies?
I love horror.
Horror?
Like, The Shining's my favorite movie.
You referenced All Work and No Play, right?
Yeah.
Make
You're like
a
Jack
dull boy.
at the
Yeah,
typewriter.
I think that is just like the best movie that's
is
ever
funny.
been made, to be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like horror. I like thrillers. Like David Lynch is definitely one of my favorites as well.
Okay.
So just really anything. I'm really excited to see the new Suspiria, which I just found out is playing at the AMC right here. So
Nice.
it's good. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the original or not.
No.
You should see it. Nice. Yeah, so just anything, like those are the things that inspire my personal work the most.
Okay.
When I see a movie that gets me like super excited.
What kind of music are you into?
A little bit of everything. I really like rap.
Really?
Like, I know he's a very controversial person, but I kind of love Kanye West music.
Right.
And Beach House is another favorite of mine. So I'm definitely like Beach House and Kanye West are total opposites of the
I
spectrum.
would never expect you
Yeah.
to say you like Kanye West.
I know. But
Kids See Ghost, probably one of the best
I
albums.
love Kids See Ghost.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. So I'm not gonna say anything about his personal life, but the music is really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually really into hip hop, so
Okay.
that's like a big thing. And then Beach House is total indie, so I'm kind of like both spectrums
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Yeah.
That is cool.
Thanks.
Any older hip hop? Like I was a Beastie Boys fan
love
back in the
Beastie
day.
Boys.
Run
Yeah.
DMC.
Oh yeah.
Beasties have a new book out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I missed it. They were on the Today Show this morning, apparently, talking
Yeah, I
about
saw
their
that.
book, but I missed the appearance.
Yeah. Last night, me and my boyfriend were watching their DJ,
Yeah.
like old DJ sets of what he used to do before the Beastie Boys would start the show.
Right.
And it was crazy. I didn't even know you can do that with vinyls. Like, you guys got to check it out. It's crazy. Like the thing, I don't know. They would play like the drums on the vinyls and stuff, and
That's
it was
cool.
just crazy scratches that I've never heard before.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw they made the claim at the time that they were the first band to incorporate live bartending on stage. So like they used to when they first came out. Like I saw them when one of the early shows, not like the earliest, but when they were starting to break, and they just had a dude that one of them would put their hand up on the stage, and a guy from the side of the stage would like throw a can of beer out to him. Right, so it was
That's
just
awesome.
like whenever you wanted a beer, to show you do that.
That's pretty awesome.
And then as like the money kept coming in, I saw them on tour with Run DMC, and they were at the Garden. They're like, "We're introducing live bartending for the night." So they set up a bar on stage with blenders, and like
That's so
now they went from throwing beer cans to
Yeah.
mixing drinks.
They really
you know.
took it to the
Badass.
next level.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
It was pretty funny. So, what about like what kind of photo work are you doing these days? Do you find yourself doing more with brands, or are you working more
Yeah.
with individuals?
I'm kind of all over the spectrum, but I love everything. Like I do food photography. I shoot a lot of interiors. So there's a few different interior designers that I work with regularly. And yeah, brands. Like I just shot with. Well, I've just actually been doing a new thing. I've been art directing music videos, which is really fun for me. It's basically like I work with my very close friend Anthony, who shoots videos, and I kind of just help the artist make their vision come to life.
That's cool.
And that started when I did the Brinn promo video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was like for the Kickstarter.
It was cool. Yeah, it was
Thanks.
good.
Yeah, so I basically I wrote all of that and really made the vision happen. So people kind of took to that, and that's been like a new venture that's been happening, which is really fun.
That's cool.
So I get to do photography while I'm on set, but also make sure that things are just looking the way that they're supposed to look.
Any
And,
bands you want to name drop?
Blaze.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been doing 3 different videos for him, so it's kind of like an ongoing thing right now. And he is going to be playing at the Yacht Club on Black Friday.
Oh, cool.
So
Sweet.
if anyone's around, you should go check him out. And other than that, I have a lot of shoots coming up for different brands as well, and just keeping busy, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Sounds it.
Right.
Do you still do events and stuff?
Every once in a while, yeah. Like if I have nothing going on and it comes up, absolutely. But I don't do it as much, and I kind of took a step away from weddings as well. But I'm trying to get back into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of I just had to pull back on the things that were the most time consuming, which are weddings. But
Yeah.
I really do enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
So now that I feel like I got a lot done, where I can start taking on some bigger projects, and I'd like to do weddings again.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the most time-consuming part of the wedding? Is it after the wedding, compiling everything? Yeah.
After, for sure. Yeah, and it's usually a 10-hour day.
Really?
But I mean, that's whatever. Like, you always have something to do at every part of the day. But yeah, it's definitely the after part, because you will just have like over 1,000 images to go through and edit down. And for me, I probably make things longer than I need to do, so I'll do one edit down, but then I'll sit down again and do another one, because I tend to hold on to a lot of images that just don't really need to be there. So it's definitely a long process. Just, you know, it's someone's best day of their life, so you want to give them like the best product possible.
Yeah, I always think that's got to be the most pressure-packed situation.
Seriously, seriously.
You don't want to.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yes, it definitely is, because you have like one chance for everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you get past the family photos, because that's when everyone's like cranky, doesn't want to listen to you, then you're fine. You're like smooth sailing once the family photos are done.
You're in the background after that. There's
Yeah,
just people partying and
Exactly.
taking pictures of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those are the best pictures too.
Oh yeah. My favorite's the first look, when the couple like first sees each other. That's like always the best part of the wedding, for sure.
right.
But
So you got any like wedding horror stories?
I don't.
Did you see that thing? There was a lady, I think a photographer, and like the pushy mother-in-law got in a fight during the wedding. Do you remember that?
Yes,
Like,
but I have to say, I've always
An actual fight?
yeah, like so. I mean, I think the story was basically like the mother-in-law kept standing in front of the photographer trying to take her own pictures.
Oh no!
Right, and like the lady, the photographer finally is like, pushed her out of the
like,
way,
you
like,
gotta-
dude, get out of the way, like this is what your
Yeah.
parents
That's bad.
And you have to. I mean, I've definitely had people with camcorders during the ceremony, and I'm like, move. I'm like, you're gonna ruin all these shots. Like, there's gonna be a guy with a camcorder next to your head when you're getting married. So sometimes it's usually just a family member, and I just have to give them like the hint to like move over.
I like the people taking the pictures with like the iPad Plus. You know,
Yeah.
it's like this big.
Yeah, you basically bring your desktop there,
Right,
and you're like, okay, hold still.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've honestly always have worked with the coolest couples.
That's cool.
Yeah, are super like, I don't know. I've never dealt with like a crazy couple that's super high string. Like,
Right.
they've always been really chill.
That is cool.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. And what about like on the set with like who are the most difficult people to deal with? Like if you're shooting a product, so who do you deal with from the company? Like
Well, I
creative
work
director.
with a lot of small companies,
Right.
so it's usually the
The
owner.
owner,
Yeah. They know what they want it to look like,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a good thing. Like, I guess it depends on your personality. I respect that. So for me, I'm like, okay, like I obviously want to give you a product that in the end of the day you are going to be happy with.
Right.
So it's kind of nice for me to work with people that know what they want
Mm-hmm.
versus someone who has no clue and then isn't happy with the end result because they didn't know what they wanted from the beginning. So it's kind of nice working with the owners because they're seeing it. They know what they're going to get when the shoot's over. Like,
Right.
they're there and they're like, this is what the shoot is. This is what it's going to look like. I never really have trouble working with them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm very lucky in the sense that my clients trust me and they kind of just want me to do my thing and they don't want to like hover over me or give me too much direction.
Right.
Which is nice. Yeah.
That is cool.
Do you draw a blank again?
Yeah. I didn't have enough coffee today. It's a rough one.
You usually have like a pot a day, right?
Exactly. I'm under a pot so far today. So what's on the horizon for you after, your Brinn launch, everything like that?
I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I mean, I'm hoping that hand in hand, photography can help Brinn, and Brinn can help my photography career in terms of like kind of opening me to a larger audience. I'm really ready to just like start working with bigger brands, and I think this will help me like put me in the spotlight once Brinn kind of grows.
Right.
My most important thing right now is growing Brinn, which is, it's just a test. Like, it's always testing different things. Like, for now, I've just been doing Instagram, and lately I've seen that Instagram hasn't been working that well. So it's like you constantly just have to be evolving and trying to figure out the next thing that's going to work.
Right.
I feel like it'd be crazy if I just kept trying Instagram over and over and over again, not seeing results.
Yep.
So my most focused point right now is growing the business. Like, I'm trying to dedicate 16 hours a week to growing the business. That doesn't even count running it. That doesn't count my photo work. Like, just 16 hours to growing it, whether that means I'm going into retail stores in the city and introducing myself, which is really hard for me. I think that goes back to the left brain thing.
Right.
I'm so not a salesperson, so I'm like learning and just connecting with people. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing I can be doing right now is just really getting people to know about the brand.
Are there trade shows and stuff you would hit?
Yeah, and I just did one. It was good. I did Capsule in Manhattan, which is, they all kind of happen at the same time because that's when the buyers are in town.
Right.
So it went well. It was really quiet, apparently, like the quietest it's ever been. But I had some great connections, and there's some things on the horizon that came from that. So it's just a matter of just waiting a little bit, and hopefully those things come to fruition.
You said Instagram not doing as well?
Not as well. Yeah, it used to be really, really easy, and I don't know. The algorithms changed. It's harder. Like when you post at a wrong time, then nobody sees your photo. Like it's like one of those things. Like it's like everyone goes through that with Instagram. So I think it's definitely still the best platform. Like it's free marketing, and I take advantage of that as much as I can. But it's just time to try different things.
So what other outlets are you looking at?
So it'll always come back. Like it will always have to do with Instagram. But what we're going to be doing for the launch is a interview series called Design Your Life, and it'll just be like, the point is, design your life, we'll design the rest. Like, we have the accessories for you. And it's just covering the creative professionals who have already purchased a bag and are already using them, and just getting to know them more. I started writing the interviews, and they're all very specific to the person.
Okay.
But we're going to have some really cool people on that.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's
That
the
is
next
cool.
thing. And because from there, people will share. Like, people who are getting interviewed will share, and that in itself will get more eyes on the company.
Right.
Yeah.
And then are you doing photos of the people as part of the story?
Yeah, so everyone is going to bring their bag packed how they use it for work.
Oh, cool.
And so that will be photographed, and then they will be photographed as well, most likely in their place of work for the people who have offices and everything. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. The tattoo artist one is, I didn't even think of that, but that's perfect for all
That
their
is a good
stuff.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool because it's like some things that I didn't even think about, and yet the consumers are finding.
Podcast stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
He does remote podcasting.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Throw some mics in
Yeah.
there and totally little mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's about
cool.
keeping your equipment safe, but
Yeah,
not
that is
giving
cool.
up. Not giving up style for function.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like we talked to some bands too that have sort of probably the same thing you face is like there's a discrepancy between the number of likes you get on something on Instagram and what the follow through is. So like for a band, it's like they're like, yeah, we'd have like 100 likes, but 3 people actually listen to the song.
Yeah,
Right.
like
we're posting about
10 views.
Right? You know?
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
did you actually watch
Yeah,
it?
so it's like it's hard to
So it's the
measure
conversion.
sometimes. Yeah. So like I said, everything goes back to Instagram because it'll always be involved. Like with these interviews, they'll be posted on Instagram.
Right.
People will share it. But just like focusing on just like posting every day on my page, that's the thing that's like not working, and that needs to be elevated.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then will your website be like a focus of where people would like you try to drive people to place orders through the website?
Yes. That's really going to be the only place to order as of now.
Gotcha.
And the new website looks really awesome, and I'm excited to launch it. So
That's
it's
cool.
just, I was using Squarespace. Everyone told me to move to Shopify. They said it's just really good for e-commerce.
Right.
So it looks great so far, and I think it operates really well.
That's
I'm
cool.
excited to get it out there.
Awesome.
That's sweet. That's
Thanks.
brinnbags.com once again.
Brinnbags.com, yep.
Nice.
Yep.
So just to backtrack a little bit, what inspired you to get into photography originally? And do you have favorite photographers?
Yeah, so I was into it when I was little. My mom does, well, she doesn't really shoot much anymore, but it was like a big hobby of hers growing up. Like she had a lot of film cameras. I shoot with her film cameras. My mom, when I say she keeps things like pristine, like our Nintendo 64 will still work without having to like blow into the games. Like she's like very good at keeping her stuff in very good condition. So I
That's
still
cool.
shoot with like the film cameras that all my baby pictures were shot on.
That's awesome.
So it's definitely like a little bit of a sentimental thing for me. I love those cameras. And
What kind of cameras?
A Canon AE1 is my favorite one. That's the more manual one, and then I have the auto one of that too. And they're 35 millimeter film cameras.
Right.
So they're just really great gear. So I definitely got the interest from her just because she always, like, she would take pictures of us to the point where we would cry. And she'd be like, oh, this is so cute. And, like, just always had a camera on our face. So I would just, like, pick up her cameras, play with it. It was,
Right.
like, me and my sister were definitely always artists since we were little. Like, spend days sketching. My mom was very into art. My aunt's very into art. So it's just been in our family, and I'm very lucky to have supportive parents that were like, if you want to go to art school and do that, like, you
Right.
should go pursue that.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I mean, I knew in high school that I wanted to go to school for photography.
right.
When I went to Parsons, I did foundation year. My parents talked me into that, which was a good decision. It's just, like, try everything.
Okay.
Like, try everything, and then, like, figure out your major sophomore year,
That's
which was
cool.
cool. So it was like a lot of 6-hour drawing classes. which
Oh,
were
really?
Crazy. Yeah, you would just sit there and draw for 6 hours. But it was awesome, and it was a really valuable experience.
Right.
But in my head, I always knew that photography was like the thing I was going to major in.
Right.
As far as artists, Gregory Crutzen is definitely one of my favorite photographers. He's a fine art photographer. He shoots large format.
Okay.
So he's shooting like 8x10 negatives, and these pictures can blow up to like cover most of this wall, and the detail in it is just
Right.
like insane. So he's my favorite. And then I just drew a lot of inspiration from directors like Stanley Kubrick, just because I was so into film and I really like the cinematic look when
Right.
it comes to photography. So Petra Collins, she's a modern day photographer. She's really great, and she's definitely one of my favorites. Michael
Right.
Donovan. So a lot of people that I like inspire me so much, and I super respect, and they're just really great at what they do.
That's cool. Is it harder to work in film these days? Like actual 35 millimeter or any kind of film, as opposed to digital?
Yeah, I mean, I don't shoot it for my clients. Sometimes, like, musicians have been like, you can shoot film if you want, like,
Right.
that's fine. But if it's a really important job, like, I just shoot digital.
Yeah.
But it's not hard. I mean, I definitely had it easier in college because we had the labs. Like, I could just go develop my own stuff and print my own stuff. So
Right.
it's just a longer process is what it is. It's not that it's hard, but it's just like, you know, now I just shot a roll for Blaze, and so now I have to like send it out and wait a few days to get it back, and then I
Right.
scan it. The scans aren't always great, but it's still doable, and there's still a lot of people that shoot film.
Yeah.
I think it's super important that if you're interested in photography, you should learn how to shoot film.
Right.
Like, I think you should know the history of what you're into,
Mm-hmm.
and I know a lot of people are like, "But why? You could just like throw a filter on it and it looks like film." But there's just nothing like doing the actual process. Like, it really slows you down. Like, we're just so used to just shoot. So you have digital and you could see it. And if you don't like it, you could delete it.
Right.
But with film, you only have so many shots, and it really makes you slow the process down. Pay attention to your framing. Pay attention to your subject more. Just makes you like more aware of what's
Right.
going on.
That's cool.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I used to shoot like probably like your mom, just recreational film,
Yeah.
you know, but it used to be able to like drop the roll off at Target, get it
Right,
developed, you
yeah.
know, and like
In an
those days
hour.
are gone. Then.
Yeah. Yes, but it's still doable. I mean, one day I really want my own dark room, but that will be in the future when I have like a whole studio and
Right.
space for Brinn and everything.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's just something I really enjoy doing it. It takes a super long time, but it's like such a good process.
Mm.
Like, I remember in college, my friends would be like, "Where's Ciara?" And I would just like be in the dark room like for hours.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just something I really enjoy.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So you got, I think people forget, like that's probably as big a part of the process, or at least it used to be,
Yeah.
as the actual, you know, setup and taking the picture itself.
Yeah, I mean, photography is about light, and that's all about like what developing and printing is. And I think it's just a really great knowledge to have
Right.
of the process. Yeah.
That's cool. And I see you voted today.
I did vote today, and it was quiet. There was no one there, which was kind
Yeah,
of
really?
nice.
That's
Yeah.
cool. It's good to
Yeah.
get there early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Asbury also has so many locations that I feel like it's kind of just has to be quick. There's so many spots.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What time do you go?
I went at 8:30, so
8:30?
like right before this. Yeah.
I think they open at 6,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is crazy.
It
But I
is.
feel like it's probably when it's most packed, right? Like,
Before people go to work?
yeah.
Yeah,
So I was
totally.
like, I'll let that crowd pass, and then
Yeah.
I'll go. Yeah.
Right. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I may go after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you going to do a launch event anywhere?
I don't know. If I do, it's going to be a little after the actual launch. I've like toyed with the idea, but I don't really have anything super planned out yet.
Cool.
I think I just want to focus more on like, I really want to start doing partnerships with other brands, collaborations, like just help each other, you know,
Right.
brands helping each other. So that's kind of where I'm headed right now. I might do a little like pop-up thing. That's usually in my style to decide like really last minute that I want to throw an event. So I might
Right.
end up doing something.
That's cool.
But as of now, I just really want to like focus on the core important things and not throw an event on myself too to plan.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, a lot goes into
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming in today, Ciara.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Awesome to learn about you and Brinn Bags, of course.
Thanks.
Once again, check out Ciara Perrone at brinnbags.com, ciaraperrone.com, on Instagram at cc4prezi, cc the number 4 PERZI, and Brinn_bags on Instagram. I'm Evan Balmer. You can find me on Instagram at Evan Balmer.
I'm Mike Garcia. You can find me at mortgageguy_Mike, and you can find the MulletCast, which we were live today on Facebook at the MulletCast.
Sweet.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.